Wow, mommy, look.
Sure, I'm a landscaper. So what am I doing at an aquarium shop? Well, did you know that because so many of us have been stuck at home over the last couple of years, we've taken a deep dive not just into gardening, but gardening underwater. This is called aquascaping, and the best part is you don't need a snorkel to give it a go.
Mimi! Come on!
Hey, David, how are you? Oh, hi, Charlie. How are you?
Cringe!
This place is incredible. Look at all these
Come on!
awesome.
Come on!
I love all the plant life growing in here. Tell me about aquascaping.
Yeah, so aquascaping has been around for a very long time. There is a lot of different styles of aquascaping, and during the pandemic, it's really taken off and such a relaxing hobby to get into as well.
Oh, there you go. Did this 3 seconds finish?
For those that don't have a garden,
No,
this is a
he's
great
back
way
on.
to add a bit of
Four,
freedom into your life.
That's right, that's right. And it's
six,
also great for your mental health as well.
Mommy, you are about to take it. Let me enjoy it.
No.
This
Oh,
is pretty
that's what
incredible. It's so simple
7,
with the wood and planting.
9,
There's some
Mommy,
real
just
tricks.
press
How long did this
11.
take?
Mommy, didn't
So
press
this
her.
is 3 hours
No, I
to do.
don't.
Wow. And tell me about the
Don't touch
plants.
this.
Yeah, so this is Java fern. There's bobitis at the back, and the wood is coral wood.
Now this looks pretty advanced and large. Have you got something a bit smaller I could have a go at?
Yes, we do.
Daddy, your face.
Listen, you just ruined my own recording.
Sorry.
Now when you're underwater gardening, you can't just dig a hole in the garden and put it into your fish tank because it's going to go all
Is Nana
cloudy.
watching?
It's just not going to work.
Probably not.
This, however, it is garden soil, but it's been worked, as you can see,
That's it.
into these round
That's my
frills that hold
11
it together.
seconds of fame.
It gives a really
Oh,
nice
okay.
designer touch to the soil. When it comes to mounding your soil up, try and mimic a natural landscape with some soft rolling earth, and you need to have focal points.
There
And
you
for my
go.
tank,
Mommy's
I'm
watching.
using wood, and then to balance my
No.
wood, I'm having rocks in the other corner. Now, I'm going to use probably 2 or 3 of those, so I'm working in the rule of 3. And with the rocks in, it's really important to head around to the angle that you're going to be viewing the tank to take a really good look at it. But before we get on to the planting, we need to give the soil a mist, because if I was to plant in this, it would suck all the moisture out of the plants and
This
do them
looks
damage.
much more cleaner.
Aquatic plants come in various shapes and sizes, all the way down from tiny little mosses all the way up to things that are going to pop up out of the water as well. What you've got to remember when you're planning your tank is smaller stuff at the front and bigger stuff at the back. What I'm going to do is do a bit
How
of
does
a
she know
dry
all
placement with all of these plants before I plant them. Again, just to make
Okay,
sure it
got
looks
it,
right,
got it from
and then
me.
I'll work on getting them into that soil. You might notice I've left out all my tall plants, and that's because they come like this. Now, you might not recognize this now, but this is a really common plant you can get from many aquariums called kabomba. Now, normally you get this in quite a long strand, but you can chop it up like I've done here to plant it and you'll get more plants. You just use these rather fancy looking tweezers, put a little bit of a hole in and stick it straight into the ground. Now, this
you
is
go
going to flop
upstairs?
over, but when the water goes
Oh,
in,
they did,
it'll
they
stand
did.
up and give us that
They
vertical
already
height
showed
graph.
some of them. So I got the thingy as well.
Now, on
So
top of my
a
log,
lot
I'm
of
using
the
this Anubias
AI and
alpha
everything
and I
else will be-
really like this plant. The leaves, as the name says, looks just like a coffee leaf. It's going to look great perched on top of our driftwood. Now, we've got a bit of a hole in there, so I'm just going to take the roots and pop it through the hole
But
to
Daddy,
secure it.
aren't you already
If you
famous
don't have
with
something like
the
that, you can use this
Yeah.
specialist super glue to stick it onto the log.
Isn't it supposed to be a
Now,
different
aquatic
super glue?
plants are much more delicate than your garden plants.
Those
It's
are
not like
green
just
ones.
chucking a couple of Aggies in a garden bed. You do have to take your time with them, but that's part of the joy. And the final piece to our planting puzzle are the ground covers. They come in these fancy little tubs. You can see this cute little moss. Then you can actually separate this out and spread it over the tank to try and make it look as natural as possible. Just finishing off with the filter and heater, and now it's gladly on to filling it up with some water, but what you don't want to do is rush this process, because if you fill it too quickly, all your plants are going to float to the surface. So just a slow...
Why is it one
steady
that
stream.
addicts used when I was doing the thing?
When it gets past your soil, you want to add in some water agent. That's going to take the chlorine out and also make this a healthy environment for your plants to thrive.
Wait, no fish? Why is it floating
My
up?
first attempt of aquascaping, I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, it does look a little bit foggy and mysterious, but that's because we've just filled it with water. I love the look of just the plants, but if you wanted to add some fish as a supporting role, you want to wait 4 to 6 weeks, because the water has to get through all these plants before introducing any wildlife. This is so beautiful and so relaxing. I can see why many people are taking the plunge. I could look at this all day.
That's good.
Did they really wait 4 to 6 weeks?